some of the most basic concepts in D&D 5e are really easy to forget about. Let's take, for example, hit points. From time to time, I started wondering whether it makes sense for the heroes and PCs to have so many hit points compared to the commoners, because the commoner has 4 hit points and a PC can have, I don't know, 70. And if hit points would only mean the physical endurance ability, there is constitution for that, then it wouldn't make any sense. Like, if I, now it's a really bad example, but so if 2 people from the same species get hit by a sword, none of them wearing any armor, why would one of them die and the other one survive? And not just survive, but survive even much more hits from the same sword. But I needed to be watching a video on GURPS basic rules to help me realize that in GURPS, the hit points are really just the physical thing, but in 5e, it's not just the physical thing. So I went back to the rulebook and read it again, because it's, I mean, why would you reread the part about hit points if you already read it once, right? And so I went back to the book, and it says hit points represent a combination of physical and mental durability, the will to live, and luck. That's a lot. That's a lot of things combined into one thing. And now I do understand. If there are 2 people from the same species not wearing armor and one gets hit by a sword and dies, then it makes sense because it was not prepared for that. And an adventurer character, of course, have already built skills and reflexes to maybe move a bit when the sword is attacking. So no vital parts are hit, like their heart or neck or artery. So it makes sense. And they are also not panicking when they get cut, so they have a much higher chance of survival in the battle, because they can still be focused on survival when a commoner would just panic and lose any sense of strategy. So it all started making sense. But then, since I was already in the basics in the book, I read forward, and there's something that I never assumed would be other way, but rereading that part reinforced that in me, that loss of hit points has no effect on a creature's capabilities until the creature drops to 0 hit points. And it makes a lot of sense. I never thought it would be otherwise, but I completely forgot about this being actually written in the book. So yeah, the basics are easy to forget precisely because we assume, at least I assume, that sure, those are I read it once, I will remember, it's easy, like hit points, what can be so complicated about it? And then if we go back to the basics, we can see there's a lot of things there, really important things there. And also how they phrased those basics is really important. And I think only after reading the basics, then start playing and DMing, and then returning to the basics can be really good, because then you start noticing that, oh, that sentence has that exact word, because there are other rules that reference that, and if it was not using that word, you could understand it otherwise. So it was a great lesson for me to revisit the basics, and I think it's just a great mindset to be in, to think that even if you are a pro, revisiting the basics is a good thing. I think that's just a healthy approach to learning anything and everything in life. I'm not saying I'm a pro, I'm a beginner, but even I had to revisit the very basics already. That's all I wanted to share for today, and thank you so much for watching. I was Peter. This project of mine is called Level 1 GM, and I am basically creating these videos for my own learning, but if you find it useful, I'm happy I was able to share something useful for you, and feel free to check out my other videos. Thank you so much and have a lovely day.